It's about to be a tough video, a real tough video. This mic is not even connected, so let me move it. I had some technical difficulties, so this video is taking a long time. But I'm gonna just do it all the extra fancy stuff, just my camera and me right now. Have you seen the title of the video? You know we're about to get into a sensitive subject for many. And this video I wrote this video up about a month ago. Just not recording it. I had plans to record it today, but now I feel like I'm just in the mood for the recording, like I'm feeling the vibe. But hello everyone, my name is Jabari, and we are here to discuss tough love, especially in the Black community. Especially in our community. It's kind of general, but I can really speak on my experience too. As a Black man, I think it is glorified in our community, but take that as you will. So in this video, we'll be discussing definition of tough love, my experience with tough love, and knowing that no parenting style or any style is perfect as far as being a friend, sibling, parent. No matter how you go about disciplining someone, no style is perfect. So I just want to disclaim that. Also, disclaimer, this is all coming from my point of view. You might have different opinions. You might have grown up with different experiences. It might have worked out better for you or worse for you, but this is all from my personal view, 22 years old. This is how I see it as of right now. And also, this is not a personal attack on, of course I'll be mentioning personal stories, so this is not an attack on my parents at all, or my siblings, or any friends. I think all of us are in a good place right now. I love my siblings, I love my parents, I love my friends. Now, just like I'm not fault-free, they are fault-free, and I can say what I want, just like they can probably say what they want about me. But I just want to say, when I say these things, doesn't mean I have any hate or dislike for anyone. I just think these are discussions that should be had, and don't get in your feelings about it. Past is the past, present is the present, and the present right now, I am happy with everyone in my life. But let's get to the video. Tough love is showing concern in a stern manner to someone that you love, especially to promote responsible behavior. That's the definition I got for it. And I like the definition. Tough love can be useful. Like, if you had a drug addicted kid and instead of giving them money for more drugs, you say, we're not paying you or being there for you until you go to rehab. Like we'll show up for you at rehab, but we won't finance you until you've gotten out of rehab and you're clean. So there'll be no more paying for this or housing them until they go to rehab. That's the kind of tough love that we need in communities. Drug addicted addicts, you don't turn your back on them, but also you don't support their behavior. You tell them, get better, and I'll be there for you. If not, then you're on your own. And that's the type of tough love I can get behind. But the problem with tough love is that people feel like they can treat you like garbage in the name of love. Like, people think they can treat you any kind of way and physically and verbally abuse you and say it's because I love you. And that's not, we not with that. We not with that. Physical and verbal abuse is not showing any type of form of love. It's abusing them. And especially in our community, where we feel like beating down our people, whether it's with our fists or with our words, It's making them stronger for the future. You'll never know how many times I heard growing up, just not even from my parents, but just other elder people, about how they grew up and about how they were saying, like, you had to be beat, you had to be tormented and bullied by your peers and your parents because they'll make you stronger for the real world. And I never understood that because it does not work like that at all. When you are being abusive to especially a small child, they're not, reading it as like that. Only thing you've done is made anxious and scared individuals that grow up into anxious and scared, hostile, triggered individuals. Nobody gets toughened up by shit like that. And somebody's gonna say, well, it worked for me, or this and that. Did it really? People who be saying that, I got abused as a kid, I turned out fine, but now you're a drug addict, or you're addicted to liquor, or you're a sex addict, or your cognitive behavior is not where it should be. You're on antidepressants, or, you're seeking drugs and alcohol to keep yourself sane. So I don't think the abuse helps you in any way. And my experience with tough love growing up, I'll admit I didn't have it the worst. It's like on the big scale, but especially physically. I mean, I got whippings and stuff, but I would never say my parents physically abused me or any of my siblings. It's not really what they did. But I will say that verbally, they have definitely put some barriers on us, which as an adult now, I've worked through a lot. I stopped my work to do. And actually, side note, getting to understand them more as I grow up, I've learned that this is also just behavior they've learned. Especially getting to know my father better now. If we can compare childhoods, his childhood was thousands of times worse than mine, which is not an excuse, but it helps me cope and understand why he is the way he is. He never could trust anybody. He was constantly moving around, abused, verbally, physically, always had to take care of everybody else before he could take care of himself, was always living for himself, and, could never get comfortable anywhere. So he was raised, he was born in the 50s, raised up in the 60s and 70s, and, it was a different time then. Masculinity was different then, and just the way he was raised was hard and rough on him. So the only way he knows how to communicate is through yelling and being hostile. Even when he's not even trying to be an asshole, even though he's not trying to be an asshole, it's coming off like that because he is just the way he talks, the way he moves, the way he yells, it comes off as real hostile and it rubs people the wrong way. And it took me a long time to figure out why he was like this. And like I said, growing up, as a child, you don't understand why your parent is yelling at you all the time, never showing you any love or affection, never hearing I love yous, never getting any hugs, never being shown any affection or them instilling confidence in you. So growing up, I always just felt like I was being teared down. I always felt like whatever I did was wrong. And I also felt like whatever I did didn't matter. Because if I did good, it's not like I got applauded for it, It's not like, I got told that they loved me on a regular basis. Now, their actions showed, and this is the crossroads with, especially in my community. My parents showed up for me big with their actions. But you don't understand that as a child. That yeah, my father taking me to school, picking me up, taking me to practice all the time, picking up, getting all of us rides, making sure we at school, making sure we fed. As a kid, yes, those actions meant a lot to me, and yes, that is important. And yes, my father showed up big time when it mattered for giving me rides, taking me places, and being there for me, as far as just taking care of us. The same for my mother. But the problem was, I thought that's what they were just supposed to do. So that wasn't like them. In my brain, I didn't feel loved because my dad took me to practice. I felt like the reason why he took me to practice because who else was going to do it? Not knowing as I got older that other people's parents just wasn't taking them to practice because they didn't give a fuck. They didn't care enough to take their kids to practice, or they didn't have the means to, blah, blah, blah. But growing up, I was like, well, he doesn't care about me. He doesn't love me. My parent, well, I'm not just going to put it all on him. I felt unloved by everybody, siblings included. And just because they're there for me, without the love being attached to it, I just felt like it was something that we had to do. So that's why growing up, I did things because I felt like I just had to do them. So my love was also cut off growing up. I did things for my parents, for my siblings, because I felt like that's just what you do as a family member. I didn't think I did it out of love. So just growing up with that, not having your parents instill confidence in you, always being yelled at, always saying nasty things to you, trying to break you down. My father would say a lot of things that I did not like and that should have been checked by somebody, but nobody did. And, people could say words are words, but when you tell 6, 7, 8-year-olds some shit like that, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to believe it, and they're going to instill it, and they're going to move through life feeling like a dummy, a loser, feeling insecure, anxious, depressed. I remember the first time I said I was depressed, I was in 2nd grade. I remember laying in bed, my mom asked me what was wrong with me. My brother was like, I think Jabari sad. Then my mom came in, she sat in the bed with me. She said, what was wrong? And I was just like, I don't know. I don't know. I just think something's wrong with me. And as kind of brush right past, because ain't nothing wrong with you, boy. You got a roof, you got food, you got a house, and that is true. Nothing was wrong with me that way, but I just felt unloved, and I felt neglected emotionally. I do. And then it pissed me off so bad when I got to high school because once you reach that age, people want to flip the script on you and be like, well, why are you acting like this? Why is your behaviors like this? And why are you acting like this? Or why are you, doing this and that? Why are you acting out? I'm not acting out. This is what you made. Motherfucker was mad because I didn't give a fuck about nothing. I didn't care because I was never made to care about anything. And as an adult, I'm still trying to work on caring. Really caring. Like, I stopped trying. As a kid, I loved to try to do. I tried, and then as soon as I found out that I didn't get no cool points for doing good, I stopped caring about the outcomes. I stopped caring about good outcomes. I was just really mentally preparing for the bad shit. So if I mess it up, I was mentally preparing. So if I mess this up, how to tune them out. So then it made me just not to care about nothing. I made myself turn off all emotions to caring about anything family or myself related. Distance myself from siblings, my parents, and especially I'm distant But outer than my immediate family, I'm super distant. I can't even talk to them because the I don't care is coming up. I don't care what you're saying to me, and I do have love for them. I love my little cousin. I don't talk to him enough. I love him. I hope he's doing really, really well. I want him to know I love him, but for some reason I can't show that I love him. You know what I'm saying? Not in the ways he needs me to. But it's because I've always just growing up and being and learning, heading into adulthood, I still know what it's like to feel unconditionally loved. I just loved properly. You know, I still cringe when I hear I love you or when people try to touch me. You know, when people try to connect with me emotionally, it turns me off. You know, I could never tell a partner I love them in person. I cringe at the fact of, you know, people loving me, people caring about me unconditionally, because I never felt like I had that. It's made me so emotionally disconnected because of the tough love that I went against. So yeah, that's why I won't be raising my kids like this. I will be instilling so much confidence into my kids and showing as much love as possible. And that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to learn from my parents' mistakes like they learned from theirs because they had worse childhoods than mine. And I'm learning. So if you still hear mom or whatever, anybody in the family, just know that we are the ones that's supposed to learn from our parents. They learn from their parents, they learn from their parents, and our next generation will just learn from us and they'll be even better. Now, what can we do differently other than showing that bullshit tough love is showing unconditional love to our young children, especially from being a baby to 7 years old. That age from being a baby, newborn to 7 is so important. And people neglect their kids, I feel like, the most in that age because, you know, they can't talk back to you, they're not playing sports, they're not doing anything fun yet. Like, those are the most important years where you should be instilling all that love and affection into them, showing them they are confident that you have their back, so that you can protect them. Because a kid, I think I seen or heard a stat, like, by the time a kid's at 5 or 6, they're already who they're going to be emotionally. Like, they already, like, by the time they hit 5 and 6, they're already who they are. So I'm since I was 6, 7, 8 years old, this is just who I've been, and I've been just growing. Like, the seed was planted at 6, and now I'm just growing out of that. So you gotta show your young children unconditional love and patience. And as they get older, listen to them instead of taking everything personally and trying to stand your ground and be so territorial. Listen to your kids, validate their feelings. Even if they may be wrong, hear them out all the way first, and then give them what you need to give them. But at least listen to them and validate why they may feel upset, while also giving back good feedback and advice. All right. Now, lastly, this is the hardest part. This is the hardest part because we're all human, and I understand that, but don't take your daily stresses out on your kids. Don't come home, or kids, family members, siblings, like, this is not just reserved to parent, kid, even though it is the bigger percentage of what I'm trying to talk about. But don't take your daily stress out on people. Like, don't use that as an excuse to be abusive. If you're frustrated, if you're tired, if you're stressed, and if they're old enough to understand you, use your words and communicate. And if they're not old enough to understand you, or if you just need a break, take some deep breaths and find a minute to yourself, because coming straight home and getting right to slamming shit, throwing shit, and being an asshole because you had a bad day at work, first of all, it doesn't do anything. Doesn't help you at all. Doesn't make you feel any better. Makes you feel worse. And now your kids are gonna internalize that. So you didn't lose any of that stress. You didn't feel any better, and they're just feeling worse. So you just transfer all that energy, even though you didn't even lose much of it, but you gave them a lot, and you still have a lot of stress still built up in you. So that, don't do that. We're not doing that. Also, I know no parenting style is perfect. I know we're all human, and I know that just because you don't hit your kids don't make you a good parent. Just because you don't say bad words to your kids don't mean you're a good parent. You can still neglect them. I think neglect is the highest form of abuse, I think, right now in the world. I think, statistically speaking, like, just because you're not hitting them or yelling at them doesn't mean they're meeting all their needs emotionally and physically, and even, giving them rides to practice and putting, food in the fridge and clothes on their back. I mean, but also just because you're hitting your kids and you give them rides to school and they got food and they live in a big house and they got a car, does not mean you're a good parent. Now, I do believe in discipline. I'm not one of the people who say you should never, ever, under any circumstances, hit your kid. But what I'm saying is, one, why are you hitting your kid? What is the reason? And how hard and how long? Like, people straight up abuse their kids 100%. I mean, beat them up like if they fighting a fucking grown-ass adult. And that's something I would never get down with. I'm not sure I'm down with spankings anymore, honestly. But I am still down with discipline. Like, if you did something wrong, you have to learn from your mistakes. Discipline doesn't mean you got to put your hands on them. They can be redirection. Like, discipline can simply just mean timeouts or a good conversation, like a conversation where they understand the consequences. And I'm not just taking things from you without telling you. I'm explaining to you why I might take your phone and how long it's going to be. I'm going to keep my man on my word on that end. But I want you to know why I'm doing this. Same thing. So you just don't go beating your kids or taking things away from them or putting them in timeout without explanation. Because now to them it's coming off as, damn, my parents hate me. They don't like me because they're beating me. And I have no explanation why. And even if you gave an explanation, stop beating your kids. Stop beating your kids for real. Like one spanking with a belt, I guess I'll give you maybe. But full on 5-minute beat down, I can't get behind that. I can't. My final point in all of this is that I know we have a long way to go. But if we all of us in this generation and the generation before us, if we can just in the end of all this, my final point is that I know we have a long way to go, especially in the Black community. This video is really made for them. We have a long way to go, and we need we need to start showing each other proper love, the proper ways to show each other love, and stop being so tough on our kids and our siblings and our friends, thinking it'll make them tougher for the real world and won't. Instead, it just makes anxious, depressed, drug addicted, alcohol addictions, sex addicts. It just creates dangerous habits when you abuse your kids physically or verbally. It leads from them just being scared and depressed as children to drug addicts and depressed and scared as adults. So let's stop. Imagine if this is everybody just stopped with their bad behavior. This is a shitty outro final point because I can feel like I'm being judged right now. And I just want to say, if you have a problem with this video, one, you should probably seek therapy because you're an adult. You need to heal. Two, how hard is it to show love? You know what I'm saying? I know we're humans and we make mistakes, but how hard is it to show love more often than not? How hard is it to tell your kids I love you? How hard is it to tell your kids that you're proud of them? How hard is it to tell your kids that you're happy for them? How hard is it to tell your peoples that you're proud and happy of them? You love them. You give them a hug. How hard is it to show up for people? It's not hard at all. And three, if we all did this, it'll make the world a much better place. Imagine the life that you wanted as a kid, you gave it to your kid. And imagine the life they could have. Now imagine if we all did that. No matter our financial situations, no matter where we live, what we're going through, if we all just turn that page and just started to show more love and affection to our people around us and patience. If we started showing more patience, imagine what we could do as a community and just as a world. So think about that. I would love to hear from people about this. I would love to see comments. I hope I get some feedback, actually. I would like feedback, comments. You can hit me up on Instagram at the Jabari Show. You can comment under this post right here. And thank you for watching. Tune in every week on Sundays. I post videos. Sometimes in between those days I do. But naturally every Sunday I make and post YouTube videos. So subscribe, like, comment. Thank you for watching. My name is Jabari. This is the Jabari Show. And have a good rest of your day.